Welcome everyone back to another DefChat. I think this is number 5. We've been doing really well so far. Binding of Isaac. We're on a 2-win streak, which is pretty good. We're gonna hard mode random as you normally do, but today, guys, wonderfully we have topics. Let's see here. Sam Lobato actually is the one to give our topics today. Before we go on to the regular topics, I will give you some of the personal news, which is this morning I just dropped off my dog over at the vet. He's getting his cone off today after our cat so lovingly decided to rip his ear open. Just the best thing ever, when something like that happens. So our poor dog decided not really decided, in his nature, I guess you could say, he got very much into wanting to play with the new kitten because he's like, hey, new friend. But sadly, that turned into him being unable to really normally roughhouse, or having judgment on who to roughhouse with, and ended up going after the big cat rather than sticking with playing with his new smaller friend. Approaching the staircase, he saw our other cat just kind of wandering there, a little angry. She was obviously peeved and not excited to see him, when he was just like, you know what, I'll say hi, and really went all in to try and make a new friend. It worked. Did not work. Hence getting his ear cut open, and it wasn't like my cat was trying to kill him or something, or our cat was like really being menacing or whatnot. Just really super unfortunate cut. The very tip edge of the ear where the blood vessel is where he got hit, making this awful wound. So, just super unlucky. I don't think the pets are really in that much danger that we still keep them open in the same house. But I think for certain the dog has officially learned his lesson. Whether or not it was a smooth way to do it or not, I think he has. So dropped them off this morning. They're cleaning up the cut and checking out the wound and making sure everything's okay. And so yeah, now he's just relaxing and attempting to he's getting his shots, he's just chilling. I don't quite know if I enjoy the fact that I picked up Bum Friend or not. Still deciding whether or not I feel like that was a good decision. Right now I'm feeling a big no, but I memean, it's an item, I guess. And then luckily we still have our Deal the Devil chance since no siree. Whew. I was like so close to getting hit by that fly for that dime. Whew. This is exactly what I was worried about picking up Bum Friend. Perfect. Sweet. Store level upgrade, and there we go. So, now that a little bit of my own antics are out of the way, let's move on to our subjects today. What do we got for our first topic? Sam says, I always feel pretty naive when it comes to topics like addiction and mental illness, as I've never really had a firm hand on them. Okay. So, I'm assuming the topic is just that as a whole. I didn't really get a, you just said, what's your opinions on that? Okay, so I think addiction and mental illness are one of the most misunderstood things possible. Everyone feels like I think they have their own interpretation of what it means to be mentally ill or to have an addiction, or most people will do the whole most people don't understand what it's like to be in an addiction. Sadly, I know both sides of the coin here, so I guess I'll give a little bit of my own background on this. I mean, with mental health, I've got schizophrenia, as well as I don't know if I still do, clinical depression, and then pretty bad chemical imbalance, including but not limited to being unable to have certain vitamins stay in my body, and receptors actually pick up the correct amounts of dopamine and stuff like that. So that's my little background on it. I guess I should have saved Book of Bilal for the harder boss, I just realized. But, And then as for addiction, being on prescription medications for over 9 years, really does a doozy. So, totally understand that. I mean, I guess I define quote unquote addiction as, something that gets to the point where, oh no, okay, I thought he was about to get me away from the spirit rock there, or the tinted, but we now coined as shiny rocks. I think they're called shiny rocks in Rebirth. Basement boy, yay, we didn't get hit. Oh man, no health ups either, so I hope there's not 2 items I want really bad. Yeah, Dark Matter's, that's solid. That's a good upgrade. Fear shot plus damage. Yeah. Alright, good floor. I think we got most everything out of it. And, yeah, I had, when I first got off medication, oh, man, the worst withdrawal symptoms. It was horrid. It was the worst. And so, what I think about mental illness, and, I mean, we are in an interesting time for talking about mental illness. I think we've entered in a phase of understanding for mental illness that's obviously a lot better than it ever has been. Well, this doesn't make me feel good. I don't want to take any of those. Dang it. Well, we got that. 2 hearts is great. That's fantastic. Okay. Didn't notice the bomb. Oh well. And so, like, obviously we had that trend back in like the late 2000s. Or I mean, I guess it's been going on much longer than that. But the whole like, I have a depression. I mean, not to quote Frank, but I mean, honestly, a lot of people will freak out and believe they have something that is, far worse than they actually have. So I feel like a lot less self-diagnosis happens. At least, I mean, maybe it's just because I'm not a kid anymore and I don't hear people just spout on about things they may or may not have. I mean, that's entirely possible. But at the same time, I feel like we don't like deny it as much. I know like people who have insane parents do. I'd like to say there was at least some level of new acceptance, but I think now we are entering in a place where scapegoating due to issues is raising, as well as we're starting to identify certain things that I would not consider that I would consider mental illness as like normal. There's a ton of things out there that like I believe are like I'll keep those specific opinions to myself, but there's a lot out there that people will often immediately jump to as like something to defend about themselves, almost like it's a personality trait, when in reality it's like a very awful toxic thing, or something you probably need diagnosed by a therapist. I love that therapy's gotten normal. That's been cool. People have really started to realize that's not like just something for people with mental illness. Like 100%, I think everyone should try out. I'll speed down. I think everyone should have a therapist, healthier, quote unquote healthy or not. I don't really think there's a status quo healthy mental per se. I think that's kind of silly, but okay, 2 bombs for like 6 cents so far. That's fine with me. Yeah, I don't think there's quite really what you would consider like tip top. Yeah, mental health is great. I mean, for example, like you would find someone who is very into art can technically coincide with the definition for insanity in some level. Like Kanye, man, like what he's not mentally unstable, man. It's just he's just an artist. Not kidding. That guy's nuts. But yeah, I know I love the normalization of therapy. I'm glad we are starting to stray away from over medicating our youth. That's great, considering I was one of those kids. That feels nice. And And I think we're also beginning to understand the difference between what it means to be like socially healthy and physically healthy are closely related, because a lot of people are like, you know, they're not really giving themselves a fighting chance per se when it comes to mental health, because often their lives are just so cruddy or depressing, and it's almost like the depression isn't as a result of some large event, or it's something that's like this, I don't know how to put it. Okay, that works. Okay, those, you know what? That's pretty good. That was pretty good. I'll take those two. The Mark and Whore of Babylon. Shoo. Okay. Okay, wow. For a blind pickup, that was fantastic. Like, I could be salty all day that their one may have been Brimstone, but this is great. And we still got 3 Spear Hearts left over because we got the Mark. It's pretty good. So yeah, that's my thoughts right off the top of my head for mental health currently. If I get anything else, I guess I'll come back to the subject. But let's see, your next subject would be Sam Bovato again. In your opinions on etiquette in different cultures, even if it comes down to different friend groups, and how you adapt to them. Ooh, I like this one. Okay, so I've got a very interesting idea when it comes to friend groups, because I mean, let's face it, all of us grow up in like a very obvious bubble. I don't think it's too hard to tell that, you know, we all grow up in a certain type of, what in God's name? Oh, this sucks. I thought it was the directional ones at first, not the ones that just auto shoot when they're pissed. Oh God. We all grow up in a bubble of like, I'm not gonna say like social etiquette, but social archetype, where it's more so expected for people to be able to talk back, or people to be more honest, due to either your home life or just where you grow up. Like, for example, like the Midwest is super blunt. If you grew up in somewhere like Arizona, or if you grew up in somewhere similar to, I feel like Colorado, any of those areas, like people are much more blunt there, but in a super healthy way. In reserves to social culture, you're able to have a lot more healthy freedom in what you need to say, when you need to say it, and why you need to say it. It's never like a tempered, like, I don't know, it's not that awkward, oh, we're hosh posh, we're, you know, some parts of the South do this, where like you're almost not allowed to talk about hard subjects or be direct, all because of this some like made up standard about not talking to people about certain things in public or some crap like that. You get my point. And so then when you're older, you move jobs, you move places, you know, you get new friend groups as a result, and there's people from all around the country. These friend groups kind of clash, and so you'll get this like southern understanding of what it means to be nice versus like a Midwestern standard of what it means to be nice. And ultimately it will all come down to this one big rule that I'm going to speak on in a little bit. But that ends up making the biggest clash. I feel like that is possible. It creates, it's just the, or yeah, screw that item's so dumb. Oh God, so is that one. I like this. This is a fun item. And so going above and beyond just the idea of like social norms, or like social having a what's the best word for it, culture, you then get to actual, you know, cultural differences. So then you have like someone that is either from like a Chinese home or a Middle Eastern home, where kind of the biggest thing that's on their mind when talking to other people is normally either an elder hierarchy for social hierarchy, or they're mostly concerned with whether or not they are following a certain life choice style or health style for their religion, that would honor, their culture. Some people it's the way they date, it's the way they eat, it's the way they talk to others, it's the way they work, and like I said, as you get older, you're gonna get more broad and broad collective of people, and the best way to handle it, and I think not the best, but the healthiest way, there's a difference. Whenever you do end up combining cultures, not only that, but you're out with your friends, and then while you're relaxing, you end up going out to a good meal, and you got one friend that doesn't drink because there's religion. It's like, who cares? Like, I have never once seen anyone talk about it. Like, I don't know. I've never met anyone who actually has ended up caring. And I don't mean like, dude, we should let people be themselves and not pay attention. Like, oh no, we pay attention. Sometimes it's, we rib them for it. You just kind of make fun of them or whatever. But it's light. It's relaxing. Everyone understands that it's just messing around. But what none of us do ever, and I mean ever, is try to overly accommodate. Let the other person take care of their beliefs, you take care of yours, and let that be that. And everything's open to being made fun of to a point that isn't toxic, such as let's say you are really into, let's give a good example here. I think I don't really need Little Brim, honestly. I'm gonna keep the health just to be safe. I think the best way to put it, in all honesty, is like, your friend is in, like, God knows what, Mormonism, and you start making fun of like Mormon stereotypes or something along those lines, and but you never call him nuts. You never say he's stupid. You never try to insinuate that you think you are better than them. You just merely make the joke and leave it at that. And a lot of people just end up taking stuff really far when it comes to jokes. That just gets unnecessary. I mean, if they're a really good friend and they like dark jokes, then like by all means get into it. But until you have that kind of relationship with people, it's just learning how to relax and only really saying jokes that are like within like a healthy level of being made fun of. That's smart, because I mean it's bad for people to have like whatever they believe in just constantly uprooted from themselves. It's terrible, and I don't mean like safeguard people from their religions or safeguard people from like their own thoughts or anything like that. I mean, like, it's really good to question not only yourself and your religion, but also like what other people think, and because asking questions is like super duper important. Without it, we'd all blindly follow things, and none of us would actually ever be that intelligent as a result. Because if you can't defend what you believe in, like, do you really believe in it? I'm sorry, but it's like those crazy Christians that think like, oh, don't let the kids watch this show, it'll pull them away from God. It's like, it'll make them ask questions, which is really healthy, like super duper healthy. Like, I question my religion all the time, and then I'm like, oh wow, yeah, I wonder why that is that way, and I try to learn a little bit more. I think what's good about this, and why I have a nice ability to talk about religion, is just off the fact that I'm the friend in all my friend groups where everyone goes, you're religious? They're always like surprised by the fact I'm religious, and I don't know. I have always felt a little bit of pride for that. Just the fact that like I carry myself in a way where people don't need to be like, I don't know. Like, I carry myself in a very Christian way, but I don't constantly talk about it or like shove it down anyone's throats or make any judgmental comments that would, you know, show people like, oh yeah, I'm Christian and I judge you for being blank blank blank, you know. And yeah, it's kind of the topic that I feel like a lot of people have had on racism now, which is, you know, just don't talk about it. Like, how do you make something go back to normal? You treat it as normal. You're not, you know, I'm not saying let's treat racism as normal. Let's just go back to normal. Let's be racist. I more so mean, you know, Morgan Freeman had a great talk on this during an interview. You know, how do we stop racism? Okay, you stop calling me black man, and I'll stop calling you white man. It's as simple as that. You just don't make it a giant big deal for media outlets to take hold of and obsess over. It's supposed to just be like everyone's supposed to be treated equal. So stop trying to constantly like make all these little alterations for each other, which goes back to my original point. Like when you are in a new friend group, just be yourself, like completely, like wherever or not. And I don't mean like be yourself, dude. I mean like be comfortable, whatever you want to say. Like if in a moment you want to make a joke, make the joke. And boohoo, someone tells you you're a jerk, and you know they don't like that. If you genuinely apologize, and as long as you're not going like hey and then like call someone some awful racial slur, or you know, obviously it's not something egregious. Like don't be stupid. Like and then you apologize, and then you grow, and then you learn the dynamic naturally. You don't force a dynamic. It's not like, oh, when I'm around Muslims I have to act this way, because not all Muslims are the same. Same as not all Christians are the same, not all atheists are the same. Like it's rude to assume just because someone's a certain culture they want to be treated a certain way. I feel like that's just like beyond patronizing. And it's great to, you know, have a lot of friends from different cultures, but it's not great to like, are they really friends if they're just some blanket, oh, this is the Muslim friend? You know, just individuals relaxing. And I mean, like, in my head, I see like a billion ways it goes like really wrong, or by wrong I mean hilarious in my head, such as like, oh yeah, your friend's, you know, really into his, you know, Jewish practices, and so, you know, every now and then you make haha money joke, haha Jew, you know, little jokes, or your friend's really Christian, so like you're like, oh, don't make sure your son not gay, haha, you know, just little stupid rib jokes that like are like maybe they teeter on like the going too far point, but you know, nothing terrible. Like I said, you know, I guess I'm not the judge of what's too terrible or not, but the less sensitive you are, the better, because it's just like, in the end of the day, it's like who's getting offended? You are. Who controls whether or not you're offended? You do. You know. And you know, and I don't mean like don't be offended as in like you should be okay with it, but don't let it like just like control your life and hurt you. Like if someone says something I don't like, I don't talk to them. Like if it's truly that terrible, or I tell them, you know, that's normally my first reaction. And if I tell someone, hey, you know, that hurt, didn't like that, and you know, assumingly they go, oh, okay, my bad, it's like, cool, problem solved. It's like, now I don't have to hear what they said, and I don't have to deal with that again. That's great, everything's hunky-dory, you know, there's no problem. But what does become a problem is when it's like, hey, that hurt me, and they're like, grow up. It's like, okay, you know, sure, reevaluate yourself, make sure you're not, you know, being a little loser about something. Someone made a joke about your crooked finger because in 3rd grade you decided to shove it into an outlet, but it wasn't even on. It's just the fact that it got stuck in there and then it got bent, you know. You know. I need to stop laughing at my own jokes if I'm gonna be good at this whole commentary thing, man. I'm gonna get stuck here just in a cycle. Man, we've gotten to deal with the devil so much, it's crazy. And then of course it's this crap. Well, I mean, I'm gonna take one to get the War of Babylon back, just so we have the extra damage. But yeah, it's like, just don't. There's a level of adaptation you need for everything. Like, nothing is black and white, and so many people want to say like, oh, I have this moral virtue that I stick to 24/7, and it's like, that's not healthy. Like, there's balance, you know. Sometimes you do adapt a little bit, but your adaptations should only be on like your own principles, your own morals, and you know, whether or not something seems reasonable to you. You know what I mean? And you know, maybe something truly doesn't seem reasonable to you. You're like, oh, I can't joke about, let's say Mormons really cared about their toes. Okay, so I can't, you know, make fun of Mormons' toes now. You're like, that's silly. It's just toes, like whatever. And you know, you go on and like more and more and more, no one is ever comfortable with that. You'd eventually learn that like, oh, okay, maybe there's something I personally don't get that's offensive about it. But obviously it's gotten to the point where like, it's like, okay, if everyone is genuinely hurt, I need to take a look at myself. Like, you'll get there. You might hurt a lot of people along the way, but that's like the point, is that we all hurt each other and then we learn, you know. And but of course, you know, then you get into like the whole like, okay, hey, I joined this friend group and my friends are really into blank blank blank, but I'm not. They're offended by this and I'm not. Sometimes you just need a different friend group. Some people, just like you know, you probably guessed, too sensitive. You know, they can't joke about themselves. They can't joke about others without feeling like they're hurting others. Like, they're just freaking out 24/7. Man, constantly getting these deals with the devil, man. This is great. Judas is quickly becoming still one of my most hated characters. Yeah. I still hate Judas, man. That was also a really short Womb 1. That was great. And so it's really, when you come down to any ideology at all, like if you want to get into any kind of, because what this is really going off of at the end of the day is virtue, what you value and what you want others to value and how you want to value it, which is their culture or their sense of humor, or I mean their placement in your life really as a friend or not. Just where you're valuing stuff. And you know, if truly you want to learn to be a better person or have better morals, or whatever way you want to really put it, in the end of the day, it's like, it has to be a natural growth. It can't be one that's like, oh, I read Jordan Peterson's new book and now I act this way because I think it's better. It's like, you didn't actually learn anything. Like, it may have sparked an idea, but you have to put it into practice and then actually have an experience with whatever you're talking about. It can't just be, now I strictly hold myself to this point about adapting or not adapting. And it's super important to be much more level-headed when it comes to yourself and sticking to your own guns too. Like, for the longest time, oh my goodness, I thought I was nuts because everyone would tell me like I have like a victim complex, and I was just like, man, do I really? Like, do I make other, like, am I really the problem when it comes to, you know, XYZ, whatever it is? Let's say it was what was it? I would tell people in, I think this was like high school. Yeah, this is like high school. I'd have a problem with something, and I'd tell them like, hey, that bothers me. You know, they would say some really rude joke or curse too much around me or whatever. And you know, I'd say, hey, that bothers me, and then people would get very angry with me that I had shared my feelings. Or I'd say like, you know, I really, really like this band for this reason or whatever. I was super open about sharing my feelings and stuff, and my and not oversharing opinions per se, not saying like I love this band and you should too, you know, but you know, I was open that when something happened between me and someone else I was interacting with, just telling them like, hey, I really didn't like that, such as like they keep pulling my leg on a joke I don't like, or for example, and I'm not talking like stick in the mud level stuff, but just having the availability to tell them like, what's a great example of what high school DefCat would have said? I gotta think one of these up. Okay, it's lunchtime. You're sitting down. This is like what? Oh God, 8 years ago. I am old. Good Lord. So it's lunchtime. You just got out of band class. I'm killing mom's heart. I'm assuming we're gonna be able to go to Shield this run. It feels like a Shield run, especially with how many times we got to deal with the devil. Okay, we're getting downstairs, and then someone says, I'm trying to think. Hey man, like I just got into this blankety blank game, and there's this character, and I look at the game, and it's some like super over-sexualized Korean MMO, and I'm like, man, it's kind of weird watching you play. You just kind of stare at the girl's butt the whole time. It's like, you know, I'd say that or whatever, and then the person would get angry with me. They'd be very like hurt by the fact that I shared my opinion on what they were doing. And you know, this is someone like I can share my opinion with. You know, it's a friend, or we'll see, what I thought was a friend. I thought I had that kind of close relationship to them that where I could say that. And then, you know, they would go, you know, you're loser, and start making fun of me, or, you know, whatever. It would go down a really defensive, angry path fast. And I was like, I just shared my opinion, man. And, you know, the problem was I was around people that did not want me to share my opinion. They did not care about my opinion either. That was the point. I was not who they wanted to talk to. And I didn't know that at the time. I thought I was just like being a totally normal kid and share my opinions and all that. And what I did not realize is I was just around, you know, most people, if you're not super close, don't want to tell you things, you know, or they don't want to hear what you have to say. And so I would like consistently share with people who didn't, you know, want to hear anything. And so I didn't adapt by going like, okay, I gotta stop like talking to people about my opinions or emotions as much unless I'm this level of closeness. Then I had to figure out and test, okay, what is that level of closeness? Like what is it even? Are we about to get Guppy here? No, that would have been too good to be true. I'll pick that up and then I'll sadly start the room over again. I kind of don't want to do that, to be honest. Like, it'd be okay for the boss fight, don't get me wrong, but like, my wife did not like my and so, yeah, there you go. You know, that's where I should have adapted and was too young to know. So, yeah, that's adapting, man. It's a balance. It's confusing. It's not straightforward, and anyone who tries to sell it to you as something that's easy to understand, and or like, oh yeah, it's like you should never adapt to this, and like, you know, they have some like giant rule of thumb, like nothing will always be one way or the other. It always, you know, it changes. You know, it changes on the place you're at, the people you're with, and anyone who wants to tell you that they know the golden rule is nuts, and or trying to sell you something. You know, it's just nothing will ever reach that level of black and whiteness when it comes to social stuff. 3, 2, 1. Aha. Bye. Yee. Ha ha ha. Yeah, that went well. That went really well. I could probably just stand still and not get hit, considering all the orbitals I have. I say that as I run through a giant mass of orbitals. But yeah, thank you so much, Sam Lovato, for all these topics. And anyone in this video who ends up sending me topics, please do. I would love to hear what you guys want to talk about. That would be an absolute joy. So, you know, yeah, if any of you guys end up thinking anything you want me to talk about for next video, please put it in the comment section. I love having topics to talk about. I realized that's something I was really missing from the series, was like a topic every time. And I don't want to always choose it. I want to let you guys choose it. Sometimes I'll be like, screw you guys, I need to talk about something. Sure, but, you know, yeah. Thank you guys for watching another DefChat. I hope you had a good time, and I'll see you guys again in the next episode.